Three American supercarriers are now converging on a single adversary. Over 3,000 coalition strikes. More than 30 Iranian warships disabled. There has been a 93% reported collapse in ballistic missile launches from Tehran. This is the largest concentration of U.S. naval firepower since the Cold War, and another carrier just surged into the theater. But where each strike group is positioned and the role it plays reveals something far more calculated than a show of force. On March 7th, the USS Gerald Ford was operating at 30 degrees north, 33 degrees east, just south of the Suez Canal in the Red Sea. Satellite imagery and official Navy communications confirmed the Ford's position, marking its first entry into the Red Sea since commissioning. The carrier's transit through the Suez Canal on March 5th, escorted by a destroyer, opened a direct corridor for strike operations toward the Arabian Peninsula and into the Gulf region. By March 7th, the Ford had established a holding pattern in the southern Red Sea, providing a launch platform within reach of Iranian airspace and maritime targets. In the Arabian Sea, the USS Abraham Lincoln maintained a forward station at 12 degrees north, 58 degrees east as of March 7th. This location, verified by automatic identification system logs and search and rescue satellite passes, placed the Lincoln approximately 280 nautical miles east of the Strait of Hormuz. The carrier's northwestern heading kept it close enough to support rapid air operations into the Persian Gulf, while avoiding the narrowest part of the strait. Flight deck activities continued throughout the first week of March, with the Lincoln's air wing on persistent alert status. Meanwhile, the USS George HW Bush remained in the Atlantic. Automatic identification system data from March 14th placed the Bush at 31 degrees north, 70 degrees west, holding in a mid-Atlantic loiter zone. This area, often used for final flight deck certification and air wing integration, suggests the Bush was completing pre-deployment checks before joining the operational theater. No verified Suez Canal transit or Mediterranean entry had been recorded by that date, and the Navy released no official statements detailing its next movement. The spatial arrangement forms a wide operational RC, Ford in the Red Sea, Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, and Bush in the Atlantic. Each carrier group maintains a 200 nautical mile security buffer, monitored by satellite and maritime authorities. This geometry enables overlapping strike coverage across the Strait of Hormuz, the Gulf of Oman, and the Red Sea, anchoring U.S. naval air power at three critical maritime choke points. Coalition air and naval forces launched a relentless campaign, beginning February 28th, with the opening phase of Operation Epic Fury driving a tempo not seen in the region since the Gulf War. Pentagon briefings released on March 6th cite more than 3,100 approved strikes against Iranian land and maritime targets. The tally, which includes sorties by all three carrier air wings, USAF bombers, and Allied aircraft, points to a scale of operations designed to overwhelm Iranian defenses in days rather than weeks. The open-source conflict tracker logged nearly 3,000 distinct target engagements by March 10th, with over half designated as high value, including air defense sites, missile factories, and command nodes. Iranian naval losses have reached unprecedented levels. CENTCOM's official figures list 34 Iranian surface vessels, including fast attack craft, corvettes, and a converted auxiliary cruiser, sunk or rendered inoperable between February 28th and March 6th. Regional media and independent analysts echo the 30-plus warships figure, estimating that a third of Iran's surface fleet has been neutralized. The remainder, according to Lloyd's List and AIS traffic analysis, are confined to protected harbors, unable to challenge coalition control of the Strait of Hormuz. AIR superiority has been achieved with similar speed. CENTCOM released video showing Israeli F-16s conducting unopposed passes over Iranian airspace, a sign that Iranian surface-to-air missile networks have been systematically jammed or destroyed. By March 7th, US EA-18G Growlers and E-2D Hawkeyes had eliminated the last operational radar sites, granting coalition aircraft unrestricted access across southern Iran. The impact on regional shipping is immediate. The Baltic Dry Index, which measures global shipping rates, rebounded from 1,020 to 1,380 points in a week, while container arrivals at Gulf ports rose 12% as commercial confidence returned. The operational tally, over 3,000 strikes, more than 30 ships lost, and a visible rebound in shipping, underscores the scale of force projection now pressing the Iranian regime to its limits. Each figure is reported pending third-party verification, but the early numbers raise a new question. How could such rapid attrition be achieved? The answer lies in the sustained sortie generation and overlapping carrier air wings now at the heart of the campaign. A triple carrier presence in the CENTCOM theater represents a level of force projection not seen since the Cold War. With USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea, USS Gerald R. Ford in the Red Sea, and USS George HW Bush preparing to enter the operational corridor, United States naval power now stretches across 3 maritime axes. This geometry is not simply about numbers. Each carrier strike group creates its own sphere of influence, but when their air wings overlap, the result is a multi-vector threat that complicates every Iranian defense calculation. CENTCOM's public posture statements frame this alignment as a deliberate deterrence move. The ability to launch concurrent strikes from separate directions forces Iranian command to divide resources, dilute air defenses, and hedge against unpredictable attack patterns. The Ford's advanced EMALS launch system, paired with the Lincoln's experienced air wing and the Bush's fresh aircraft complement, ensures that no single point of failure exists. If one group is tasked with suppressing missile launchers, another can target naval infrastructure or production sites without pause. Forbes' analysis notes that this surge delivers an unprecedented volume of strike capacity, but also warns of operational strain. Crew fatigue, maintenance cycles, and the risk of overextending logistics chains are flagged as real concerns. The largest concentration of United States carriers since the Cold War means every asset is stretched thinner, and adversaries may seek to exploit these seams with asymmetric tactics or cyber attacks. Still, the strategic payoff is clear. Overlapping carrier air wings provide a persistent, flexible threat that can saturate Iranian defenses and maintain pressure around the clock. This posture signals more than readiness. It demonstrates resolve. The visible presence of 3 supercarriers, each capable of sustaining over 100 sorties per day, communicates to Tehran and the wider region that the United States can escalate at will, sustain high-tempo operations, and impose costs across every domain. The calculus for Iran is fundamentally altered. Any attempt to break the blockade or launch a counterstrike now faces immediate multi-axis retaliation. The deterrence value is matched only by the operational risk, a balance CENTCOM must manage as the campaign continues. USS Abraham Lincoln's air wing stands as the spearhead of deep penetration strikes in the current campaign. With a complement of roughly 90 aircraft, Lincoln's carrier air wing brings together 2 full squadrons of F-35C, Lightning II stealth fighters between 20 and 28 aircraft, alongside FA-18EF Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers, E-2D Hawkeyes, and MH-60RS helicopters. The F-35C, operating from the Lincoln's flight deck, enables the Navy to reach targets deep inside Iranian territory without warning. These jets are designed to slip past radar and advanced surface-to-air missile networks, carrying out precision attacks on high-value sites such as command centers, missile launch infrastructure, and production facilities. The Lincoln's F-35C squadrons have played a central role in the opening phase of Epic Fury. Pilots have executed low observable sorties at night and in contested airspace, striking Iranian naval assets and disrupting the regime's missile supply chain. The stealth profile of the F-35C has allowed repeated attacks on defended targets, including radar installations and hardened bunkers, with minimal losses or detection. This operational reach forces Iranian commanders to disperse their assets, complicating every attempt at coordinated defense. Yet the Lincoln's ability to generate this tempo depends on more than just advanced aircraft. The carrier's flight deck operates under a relentless cycle: launch, recover, refuel, rearm, and launch again, sustaining pressure around the clock. Maintenance is a constant concern, especially for the F-35C. On average, about 8% of the stealth fleet is grounded at any time for repairs or spare parts, a figure that defines the upper limit of Lincoln's strike surge. Even so, the remaining aircraft are cycled through rapid turn operations, with deck crews and ordnance teams working in shifts to keep sorties flowing. This combination of stealth, persistent sortie generation, and overlapping coverage with other carriers is what has enabled the coalition to degrade Iranian air defenses and strike at the heart of missile production. Each F-35C sortie is more than a tactical mission. It is a strategic message, demonstrating that no target within Iran is beyond reach. As the campaign shifts toward industrial infrastructure, the Lincoln's air wing remains at the forefront, shaping the battlefield and applying unrelenting pressure to the Iranian regime. USS Gerald R. Ford's arrival in the Red Sea brought more than a new axis for strike operations. It introduced a leap in sortie generation and kinetic throughput. At the heart of this advantage is the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, which replaces the legacy steam catapults found on Nimitz-class carriers. During the March 2026 surge, Ford's EMALS delivered a validated 25% gain in launch cycle speed over previous generations. This technical edge translated directly into operational results. The carrier sustained between 110 and 120 sorties per day during the opening phase of Operation Epic Fury, a figure confirmed in after-action briefings and consistent with earlier sea trial reports. The flight deck's relentless tempo was matched below decks by Ford's advanced ordnance elevators. These automated systems moved 1,500 pounds of munitions per hour from the magazines to the flight deck, enabling continuous rearming of strike aircraft without bottlenecks or crew exhaustion. The net effect was a seamless flow, sorties launching, recovering, and relaunching in a cycle that allowed Ford's air wing to maintain pressure on Iranian targets day and night. This volume advantage proved decisive in the campaign's early days. With EMALS and automated weapon handling, Ford's air wing could mass strikes at a rate previously achievable only by two legacy carriers. The carrier's ability to generate up to 120 sorties in a 24-hour period meant that Iranian air defenses, command sites, and naval assets were subjected to overlapping waves of attacks, overwhelming response capacity, and forcing dispersal of critical systems. Operational risk remained a constant companion. On March 12th, a minor fire broke out in a forward compartment, resulting in non-life-threatening injuries to two sailors. The incident, quickly contained, did not impair Ford's combat readiness, but underscored the hazards of high-tempo operations under wartime conditions. Crew safety protocols and redundant systems kept the ship's launch and recovery cycles on track, with no measurable drop in sortie rate following the event. Ford's EMALS-driven surge, combined with automation in weapons handling, established a new benchmark for carrier-based air power. The ability to sustain over 110 sorties per day, move ordnance at a rate of 1,500 pounds per hour, and absorb the shocks of combat operations without losing momentum, positioned the Ford as the technological spearhead of the coalition campaign. This high-throughput launchpad enabled the massed, persistent strikes that put unprecedented pressure on Iranian defenses and reshaped the operational environment across the Red Sea and beyond. USS George HW Bush re-entered the Atlantic Fleet with little fanfare on February 21st, emerging from a 28-month dry dock overhaul at Norfolk. Within 2 weeks, the carrier's crew completed pre-deployment certification, a rigorous sequence of flight deck drills and air wing integration that wrapped up on March 7th. By March 14th, AIS signals placed Bush holding steady at 31 degrees north, 70 degrees west, mid-Atlantic, loiter zone favored for final operational checks. Navy planners use this area to cycle through last-minute readiness tasks, from carrier qualification landings to live ordnance handling, ensuring every system is combat-ready before crossing into contested waters. The timing of Bush's surge is no accident. With the Ford and Lincoln already pressing Iranian targets from the Red Sea and Arabian Sea, Bush stands as the sustainment engine for the campaign. Its fresh air wing, mirroring the standard 90 aircraft complement, brings 2 F-35C squadrons, over 40 Super Hornets, a full suite of Growlers, Hawkeyes, and Seahawk helicopters. This influx of newly certified pilots and unexhausted maintenance crews is designed to relieve the operational strain on forward-deployed carriers, enabling continuous strike cycles without degrading sortie rates. Logistics play a decisive role. The Bush's post-dock status means every system, from steam catapults to power plants, is at peak reliability. Spare parts pipelines remain unbroken, and deck crews operate at full strength. This contrasts with the cumulative wear and tear already taxing the Lincoln and Ford, where high-tempo operations have begun to expose the limits of even the most advanced launch systems. By rotating Bush into the theater, the Navy ensures that at any moment, one carrier can stand down for replenishment or repairs without leaving a gap in strike coverage. Satellite and synthetic aperture radar imagery confirm the Bush's deliberate loiter, with no verified Suez transit or Mediterranean entry as of mid-March. This holding pattern is a calculated move. Once called forward, Bush can surge east at flank speed, rounding out the triangle of force projection that pins Iranian assets from 3 vectors. The carrier's fresh flight deck and unspent ordnance stocks promise not only sustained pressure, but the flexibility to escalate or pivot as the campaign demands. While the Ford and Lincoln hammer away at Iranian defenses, Bush waits in reserve, a logistical asset and a strategic wildcard, ready to extend the coalition's operational reach for as long as the crisis endures. Inside Tehran, the pressure is shifting from the battlefield to the regime's inner circle. Iranian state media broadcasts defiant messages, insisting that the nation's military-industrial complex remains intact. Yet commercial satellite imagery tells a different story. Several warehouse-style facilities on the outskirts of Isfahan and Khuzestan show clear signs of damage, roofs collapsed, and scorch marks radiating from missile assembly lines. These sites, long rumored to be central to Iran's ballistic missile program, have become priority targets for coalition airstrikes. Neutral verification of the exact extent of destruction remains elusive, but the regime's supply chain is under visible strain. President Pezeshkian faces mounting criticism from both reformists and IRGC hardliners. His public stance wavers between calls for unity and warnings against foreign intervention, as rumors of industrial strikes ripple through key defense plants. Communications from IRGC urge vigilance against sabotage and hint at harsh reprisals for suspected collaborators. As coalition sorties continue to disrupt production, questions grow about the regime's ability to sustain its missile campaign. The political shockwave now threatens to undermine Tehran's grip on its own war machine. Coalition control of the battlespace is maintained through a layered web of air, sea, and undersea security measures. The U.S. Navy E-2D, Advanced Hawkeye crews provide persistent early warning, tracking aircraft and missile threats across hundreds of miles. EA-18G Growlers jam hostile radars, blinding Iranian air defense networks and enabling strike aircraft to operate without interference. While reports of Israeli F-16 overflights in the Red Sea remain unverified, Allied intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance sorties continue around the clock, feeding real-time data to carrier strike commanders. Convoy doctrine, refined since the tanker war, is now supported by automated mine countermeasures. The Lockheed Sea Leech system, still in the procurement phase, represents the next leap in neutralizing bottom-laid mines, though no operational deployment has been confirmed. Destroyers and cruisers maintain tight escort formations for commercial convoys transiting the Strait of Hormuz, ready to intercept fast attack craft or surface-launched missiles. This multi-layered approach compresses Iran's tactical options, reducing the window for missile launches and keeping the strait open for global shipping. Analyst reports now warn of new external intelligence risks. Western defense bulletins flag the possibility of Russian signals intelligence support to Tehran, though no confirmed transfers have surfaced in open sources. On the ground, missile launch monitoring shows a staggering 93% reduction in Iranian ballistic launches since the start of coalition strikes, a figure echoed by US and Israeli assessment teams, but still awaiting fully independent verification. With Iranian naval and missile capacity sharply degraded, the campaign stands at a crossroads. Three scenarios dominate expert briefings. First, a rapid regime capitulation under sustained pressure. Second, a pivot to asymmetric proxy warfare, backed by external actors. Third, a dangerous escalation, if foreign intelligence or advanced weaponry tips the balance. The outcome now hinges on whether the current force posture can maintain dominance, or if new variables trigger a shift in the conflict's trajectory. At this hour, 3 U.S. supercarriers, each fielding over 70 strike aircraft, anchor a deterrent unmatched since the Gulf War. With more than 3,000 coalition sorties and Iranian ballistic launches dropping by 93%, the message is unmistakable. Escalation meets overwhelming force. Yet, as Operation Epic Fury compresses Tehran's options, the next move remains unpredictable, and every decision now shapes the balance of power in the region. Share your analysis below.